Good afternoon. Welcome to Mental Health Colorado's Legislative Lunch Break webinar series, where we provide bi-weekly updates on what's happening at the Colorado State Capitol and how you can get involved. Today is April 10th, and moving on to the next one. My name is Ashley Perales, and I am the Senior Manager of Development and Operations. Now I'll pass it on to Vincent.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Vincent Atchity. I'm the President and CEO. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon. I'm Wendy Buxton Andrade, Vice President of Government Affairs.
Just by way of overview and introduction, Mental Health Colorado has been working to support healthier minds across the lifespan for all Coloradans since 1953. We work to pass laws, change practices, and help build a movement promoting well-being for all Coloradans. And we like to emphasize that mental health is something that we've all got from one end of our lives to another, and all of us are vulnerable to challenges and setbacks that may take turns for the worse if not properly attended to in a timely way. We organize all of our bills, the bills that we follow, the bills that we take positions on based on this scheme across focus areas, beginning with a strong start for all children through wellness and aging, and always attentive to health-based discrimination, the persisting over-reliance upon the justice system to respond to people with unmet mental health needs, and we also work to reduce potential harm from drugs and alcohol. Updates from the session. Wendy, do you want to go ahead with this?
It is budget season. We are watching the long bill or the budget bill go across right now in the House, and it has been read at length, which if you tune in to hear it. It is an electronic reading of it, and it's 661 pages, and it takes about 15 hours for this. This is a normal procedure that happens when you have two different parties, and they might not always agree on what's happening in the long bill, but it is being read at length. After it passes the House and comes off the floor in the House, it'll immediately go to Senate. So there's a couple weeks. They will be in session this weekend in the House to go through this. And then once it passes both chambers with a majority vote, it goes back to the governor's desk and is signed into law. Just so you guys know, there is tons of cuts happening, and we're just watching the cuts. Some of the programs have been delayed, which means that if we have a windfall of money, some of the programs will come back, but some of them have been canceled, and we're watching to see where that comes in. Hopefully, some of the programs that we are seeing being cut will come back, but it's now all up in the air. So your guess is as good as ours right now.
Wendy, and as far as the reading of this long bill goes, this is not being read aloud by humans, as I understand it, right? This is a robot doing the reading.
It is an AI reading, basically, that reads the entire deal. And it takes about 15 hours for this robot to read the entire bill.
And presumably only the robots are listening because none of the humans present are paying any attention at all as this is taking place.
Yeah. We actually, I tuned in last night about 6:30 it started, and I listened a little bit, and then this morning I tuned in and it was still going. And they probably will come back. The room's cleared. You if you look on the camera, there's nobody sitting in their way listening to it.
Maybe we
They're
should
all
be
working on amendments basically right now.
maybe we should be doing a better job of promoting this as an insomnia remedy for people. They could tune into the robot reading of the long bill and
Yeah, yeah.
that instead of counting sheep.
And just so you know, this will happen probably on the Senate floor also. So it'll be read of length on the Senate floor too. So it kind of gives everybody a scrambling to bring up any of the amendments that they want and work on that. So they're actually diligently working off the floor or right beside the floor as it's reading because they're all trying to dissect this long bill.
Thank you. Ashley, let's move to the next slide, if you would.
You got it.
Thank you. So just a quick update, as you know, the process is that once the bill makes it through both chambers, its next move is to the governor's office. And the governor can do a few different things. The governor can either sign a bill into law, a governor can veto a bill, or the governor can just let the bill sit there on his desk until a certain number of days go past, at which point it becomes law without his signature. And each of those is a performative political act on his part. And that's the prerogative of the executive office. The update this week is just with regard to the bills you see displayed here. These have all gone to the governor's desk to be signed. These are bills that we have been supporting from the start of the session. So this is good progress.
We'll see quite a few going over to the governor's desk to be signed in the next couple of weeks.
And ones that we've moved to this slide that shows the ones that we've been watching that have been signed into law. House Bill 1064, which we've been mentioning from the beginning, was a bill that came out of the Committee for Behavioral Health Disorders in the Criminal and Juvenile Justice System. And this is a bill that ensures better access to behavioral health care supports and services for younger people caught up in the justice system, with the aim of ensuring better outcomes for them and smoother reentry into the community once they've served their time in that space. So that's a win. And then House Bill 1115, this is the bill that ensures more seamless collection of the fees that support our 988 crisis services line, which Mental Health Colorado had a significant role in bringing about back in 2022. Wendy, do you want to talk about our bill?
I will. This next Wednesday at 1:30, we will be in committee for the House Health and Human Services. We are not seeing any pushback on our bill. I think everybody realizes that this is about codifying statute, what is already happening, and taking the mental health and concussion protocols that are happening now and marrying them together. So the coaches understand that, and also bringing parents into the mix of making sure that they realize that when a child goes through concussions, that they need to watch for mental health conditions that can come after it. And the Alyssa's Act is what it will be called. And, in memory of Alyssa that had multiple concussions and ended up taking her own life. And we want to make sure that our kids get the help they need. And we all know that sports can be fun, but it also can have some pressures around it. And so we want to make sure that communities come together and support our youth athletes.
Okay, the next update is with regard to House Bill 1305, and this is about licensing of behavioral health facilities to ensure it helps some of the inpatient healthcare facilities in some of the remote areas of the state to operate under a Maine hospital's license. And this is sort of a cleaning up operation to make sure that progress that's been made in building out inpatient capacity is not impeded by challenges that smaller facilities may face in securing independent licensure. So it's an important move to increase access to care in parts of the state that need it most. It's been making its way through. It's on its way with bipartisan support and is now on the Senate consent calendar with no anticipated opposition. Next, please. House Bill 1322. This is civil actions for conversion therapy survivors. This enables people who have experienced adverse consequences from conversion therapy to make injury claims against therapists that have subjected them to this kind of treatment that has no evidence basis. This has made its way through the House successfully and is on its way to the Senate committee. This is an important bill given the recent Supreme Court decision that seemed to take us in a step backwards in terms of the protections that the state has put in place against conversion therapy. As you may have noted, there was a First Amendment claim to support the persistent practice of conversion therapy. This bill keeps the door wide open for claims of injury against that kind of therapy, even if the Supreme Court seems to find it permissible at the federal level. Senate Bill 95, measures to support victim survivors of crime. We've mentioned this in past weeks as well, so we're just sharing the update that its next step is moving along to the House Judiciary Committee. It made it out of the Senate. What this does is it strengthens victims' rights and improves coordination among service providers, courts, and agencies so that folks get better access to care and assistance in the wake of an assault experience. So Senate Bill 149, which remains under review. We've categorized under health-based discrimination. This is a bill that has been described in the build-up to its introduction as a competency bill. I think I've mentioned in past weeks, the state persists in the experience of a competency backlog, resulting in something like $11 million per year in fines paid by the state as a consequence of the state's inability to meet the terms of the federal consent decree and properly protect people's constitutional rights to due process and a speedy trial. This bill, described as a competency bill, requires some extended digestion. It's 197 pages long as introduced. We have not yet taken a formal position due to the complications of the bill. We are likely to be in an amend position before it is heard in committee on Monday, and we will testify in an amend commit position with a variety of questions about the bill. Already we know that there is a pretty significant mass of amendments being proposed that will address some of our questions. Primarily what we're interested in is making sure that we are preserving people's rights and protecting people's presumption of innocence within the context of a justice system that sometimes seems to be forgetful of presumption of innocence in a public safety reaction. The bill aims to open up some broader pathways to civil commitment, particularly for individuals who are deemed non-restorable, unrestorable to competency after a prolonged process of evaluation and attempt at restoration, when those individuals are deemed threats of harm to public safety. One of the challenges to sort out as a society is presumption of innocence while also preserving public safety and supporting people's health. The folks devising the 197-page bill have obviously been hard at work on trying to walk this fine line, but there's a lot to sort out in terms of preserving a health basis for determining people's outcomes and pathways versus a legal or court-based basis for creating those pathways without health competence. So we're also trying to navigate that frontier between a justice system and a health system. So more on that in weeks to come. This will be a heavily amended bill before it goes forward.
Thanks, Vincent. Any additional thoughts from you, Wendy, before I move on?
No, this is just one that we're going to have to watch and see how it shakes out. It's been highly publicized and highly politicized. So we want to make sure that we give the voice of the consumers to this bill.
Okay, thank you both so much. And as always, I'd like to invite everybody to join the Brainwave if you haven't already. You can sign up for action alerts, get weekly policy updates, and learn about advocacy opportunities throughout session. You can also review our 2026 legislative priorities on our website and by following these QR codes. And I would like to thank our sponsors, Rocky Mountain Health Plans, Accessotree, and Johnson & Johnson for supporting this webinar. And that is all for today. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to email me, aprales@mentalcolorado.org. And yeah, hope everyone has a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.